as actors there might be like some kind of a, if you are not married, एक complex आता ही होगा कि यार इसको ज़्यादा काम मिल रहा है, मुझे कम काम मिल रहा है. It's got nothing to do with the fact that does that come in the way?
As an actor in general and in this modern world of Instagram in general, किसी और को ज़्यादा काम मिल रहा है और आपको कम काम मिल रहा है is a thing that hits you. And Instagram, of course, bombards you with all the good things happening to everybody else and nothing bad happening to, you know, anyone.
You mentioned about the poker scene, and there's a scene where Rasika is kissing Kabir.
Yes.
Okay. How does Mukul as an actor have that switch off button of, you know, seeing his wife being kissed, and then how does the actors come on?
I think we've had that now for some time, in the sense that, let's say I'm not in the film, it's a different film.
Correct.
It's not as if we haven't had to kiss somebody else, you know, in a role, which we have seen on screen subsequently. You've seen it on screen, you've not seen it on set, you've seen it on screen. I think you get used to it, or you accept it.
How excited were you for the second season?
I was very excited. Sunflower was a very good role for me because, just you know, you said also, it was very different from what I had played before or what I had been offered before.
2024, where there are like so many beautiful offers on OTT that are coming to you. How has OTT impacted you?
Oh, a very big way. I mean, I think for a lot of actors like me, life has changed quite a bit. Hi, this is Mukul Chadda and you're watching me on Bollywood Hungama.
Welcome to Bollywood Hungama, guys. My name is Urmin. जिस तरीके से OTT ने हमारी जिंदगी बदल दी है, आज मेरे साथ एक ऐसे शख्स मौजूद है who can say this is the same thing for himself too.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Mukul Chadda हमारे साथ.
Arey, so good to be here, Urmin. So good to be here.
Apart from the fact that he is a fabulous actor, improv artist, मैं आपको बता दूं कि ये बहुत अच्छे travel guide भी हैं.
एक बार मैंने उर्मिन को एक चीज बता दी. I've got this elevated status
of course,
now.
Of course.
But now I will take travel tips from you from the next holiday.
It's so good to see you, Mukul. And today we are celebrating two very important releases. Three important releases.
Sunflower 2, Fairy Folk, and BDGC.
बताइए. That's amazing.
Which is just launched today. Yeah.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so
on
much.
That.
Thank you.
What would you like to start with?
Fairy Folk, I think closest to my heart. Yeah.
Tell us what got you the most fascinated with a story like Fairy Folk?
So Fairy Folk is interesting in the sense that, you know, every rule that we generally tend to follow, at least I tend to follow, कि जब कोई script आती है तो, you know, read the script. You know, script important. And let's be honest, there are lots of projects that come where they say script नहीं है हमारे पास लेकिन लिखी जाएगी. And you are always wary कि यार ये क्या है यार, because the script is a true testament of how, you know, the story is and what your character is. Otherwise, very often you can say कि हाँ ये आपका character ऐसे होगा. Everybody says wonderful things about your character and all that. But until it's actually written on paper and the actual lines are there, you don't know how, you know, interesting it can be. So generally, I'm always following this thing of कि यार script भेज दो पहले, फिर देख लेंगे, then पढ़ लेंगे, then we'll get an idea. This is the one project that makes you upturn your own expectations. Because Karan came home and he said, I want to offer this project to you and Rasika. It's the, you know, they're a married couple in this movie, and his script, he didn't have a script. He had a script in the sense that he had an outline of 80 scenes. कि ये होगा, ये होगा, ये होगा, ये होगा वगैरह. No dialogues by design. He said, I don't want to do dialogues. I want you to improvise dialogues on set completely, because I believe that he genuinely felt that this will make people make the dialogues real. So Karan came home and he met and said, Rasika and me, he told us that I want to give you all, I want to offer you this film as a married couple. You're a married couple in the story. The story, as you've seen the film, is bizarre in itself. I mean, you start seeing this story of, you know, ये कैसे करेंगे, ये कैसे होगा? It's kind of borderline sci-fi, borderline, you know, magical realism.
मैं समझा भी नहीं पा रही हूँ.
हाँ, सच में.
Somebody asked me what is the film about.
Exactly. You can't tell me. And someone said, what genre is it? How do I say?
बता नहीं सकते.
It's magical realism, relationship drama. It's someone calls it sci-fi. Somebody
अभी एक नया genre इजाद करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ, कुछ ऐसा अजीब सा है, you know. So and it keeps changing also as the film goes along. So एक तो ये bizarre था. Second, there was no script. It was just, you know, there was just this. Like he had a structure. He had 80 scenes. He said कि ये scene, first scene में ये होगा, second scene में ये होगा. Dialogue हम लिखेंगे नहीं. And by design, I want you all to improvise. I want all the actors to improvise lines and movements and everything on set. So, you know, like I was saying, the exact opposite की जो हम पहले सोचते हैं कि नहीं script दे दो पहले भैया हमें फिर, you know. And this was totally different. And if it was anybody but Karan, and I had seen his previous work, उन्होंने रसिका के साथ काम किया था in Share. So if there wasn't that trust in his aesthetic, because then you're trusting at some level, क्या ये क्या करेगा? I would have said, Arya, thank you, chai pee lo and tata bye bye. You know, with anybody else. So this has just totally thrown out expectations completely. You know, in terms of
But the improv artist in you
was challenged, was
must have,
excited, but you know, you've done improv also.
Yeah.
When we've done improv together,
Right.
and it's improv is at one level. What we do is, आप suggestion ले लो audience से and you do a scene, right? You do either one scene or you do a whole play or whatever. इसमें थोड़ा सा बीच का है, because या तो हमने improv किया है scripted stuff में कि rehearsal में आप improvisation कर लो to either understand your character better or understand the relationship better, or sometimes you take the script and you make tweak with, but then you fix the script again and then you shoot it.
Correct.
You know, ये है कि आप improvise करो with the cameras rolling. But there is a structure of what happened in the scene before, what has to happen in the scene next. There's a storyline का contour which you have to follow to some extent. So वो एक imposition है ऊपर से, but in the scene you have complete freedom to do what you want. You know, not that you will do some improv and then they will stop and say हाँ ये अच्छी line है, like नहीं, because every take was different.
Roll होते जा रहा है.
Roll होते जा रहा है और if you do a second take, it's totally different. It's not कि इसी direction पे जाइए and see where you go. No, because then it will not be pure improv. So it was like, ये कैसे होगा इस structure में? And we were all struggling. I mean, I will say to start with, it's not that we all knew. Even Karan, who has this idea, it was not that he has done 5 films like this before.
Correct.
He has not done a single film like this before. So we actually we rolled some pre-scenes. You know, जैसे आपने जो film देखी है, it's from scene say 1 to 80 or whatever the number of scenes are. We shot them in order actually. We had to shoot them in order because if you don't know, normally in films you shoot scene 12, scene 35,
Correct.
scene 29, you know, depending on location. But you know exactly what's happening in every scene. So you can kind of enter a scene knowing कि पहले क्या हुआ. इसमें you don't know. You know story-wise what the situation is, but what is the emotional baggage you've left with or come in with at the end of the scene? What is your relationship with this character? We don't know that. So we had to shoot it linearly. But to practice, we shot, we started with scene -5. You know, we started with scene -5, -4, -3, which were not going to be in the film. हमें पता था कि ये film में नहीं होगा.
एक backstory से बन
एक
जाए.
backstory हमारे लिए create a common history because you're playing characters just similar to you but slightly different.
Correct.
So a common history, understanding the process for yourself. You know, so that when you hit that first scene, there is some baggage that is coming along with it, which audience will not see, but it helps us. You know, and it rounds off the whole thing.
I think it's a great concept because the director has tried to get the actors also so involved that they're actually living their characters.
We were living it as we went along. Actually, it felt like that.
ये बताएं that 14 years of your marriage,
14 years of our marriage, yeah.
and this is the first time that you all were seen together in a feature film.
In a feature film, yes. Yes.
How was the feeling?
मैं तो कहूँ, please, more people, more cast us. We were happy to do more, but it was actually very easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you wonder, you know, working with a spouse, how that will be because the tendency to, you know, there can be some more friction because you take each other for granted, etc. इसमें, I think also because it was improvised, and you know, in improv, you know, there's no wrong choice that any co-actor makes, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they say, you accept it.
Yeah.
As a choice that the character has made and you go along with it. ये नहीं कि अरे सर ये क्या बोल रहे हैं, ये गलत है, ये नहीं कर सकते. You know, you can't do that with any of the co-actors. Whatever choice they make, you trust it and say, this is what this character is saying. It might surprise me. But
you know that this is the rule of a husband also, right?
I love how you said only of a husband but not of the wife.
It's just being very clear. That you have to only yes and always.
This I have to yes and more in my marriage. I agree with you. This is something I should work on. On set, it was very easy because we both were yes-anding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a problem it wasn't a problem at all, actually.
But ये पता that, you know, what does it look like in a household where both actors are married to each other? Like, do you all discuss scripts? Do you all take each other's feedback seriously? Do you all criticize each other or give like...
So we read each other's scripts at times whenever we can. You know, if it's, you know, whenever somebody's stuck and says, yeah, just read this once and see what your opinion is, I'm not sure. But we're also careful that, you know, whatever your choice is your choice, my choice is my choice. So, you know, if one is asking for feedback on a script, you know, and will give it and say, ki aisa hai, because, yeah, we make our own choices that way, you know, in that sense. Criticism, we watch shows, we, you know, discuss them, we watch movies, we discuss them a lot. That every couple does really, I mean, and they say that if you all like the similar kind of movies, generally, you know, that leads to some harmony or that creates a sense of bonding also. and even our own work.
Yeah.
You know, we are really like, for me, I really care about the opinion of a few people. You know, like otherwise you can go on social media, people will say anything this way, that way. You can't take either side very seriously. You know, if someone's also praising you or someone's criticizing, you can't really take it too seriously. But there are a few people whose opinion counts. And Rasika is one of them. So I really care about, you know, what she says about work I do, and vice versa. It's that matters a lot.
I'm sure, but as actors, there might be like some kind of a, if you all were not married, एक complex आता ही होगा कि यार इसको ज़्यादा काम मिल रहा है, मुझे कम काम मिल रहा है. It's got nothing to do with the fact that does that come in the way?
I'll be honest, it does happen. We see, as an actor in general, and in this modern world of Instagram in general, किसी और को ज़्यादा काम मिल रहा है और आपको कम काम मिल रहा है is a thing that hits you. And Instagram, of course, bombards you with all the good things happening to everybody else and nothing bad happening to, you know, anyone. So it is, in this era of social media, a difficult time to always, right? And as an actor in general, this is your insecurity कि काम कम मिल रहा है उस time पे. कभी-कभी काम बहुत ज़्यादा मिल रहा है तब तो कोई problem है नहीं. But when there is less work and you have your own self-doubt, where is my career going? What is happening? And this happens very frequently. You know, we know industry में downturn हो सकता है, ये हो सकता है. It doesn't matter. You feel that, and certainly if you have somebody in your house also, it's more prevalent. Like, it's just more, you know, right there.
Yeah.
You know, that someone is. So yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, that does have an impact because you're seeing that live.
Sure.
You go somewhere, one person gets praised, you're also proud of the person, but you also feel that, you know, I wish I had more recognition. So all that is there. I mean, you know, completely frank about it. Those things do happen, but that's the life of an actor. We chose it, and now you live it. Yeah, with all the insecurities and, you know, ups and downs with it.
I'm so glad you're being open about it, Mukul.
Yeah.
And I want to just go ahead and say this, that every time we see you on screen, there's a certain laugh, there's certain excitement that comes, because हमें पता है that you're probably somebody who the director also likes challenging, and which is why the roles that are being offered to you, like Sunflower ho, या फिर The Office ho, you know, they are just not the regular ones.
They aren't, yeah.
So,
and I've been lucky with this, touch wood. Touch wood, I've really been lucky. I think it's not always you get roles like that. So जब मिलते हैं, तो you should grab it and like run with it, because they're really lovely. I mean, both of them you mentioned. They're
yeah.
really
So,
lovely.
इस फिल्म में क्या ये conscious effort था कि आप दोनों का नाम बहुत similar हो, जैसे मोहित और ऋतिका?
So मैं सच में बता दूं, to start with, Karan wanted the names. He wanted us to play Mukul and Rasika.
अच्छा.
Okay, and he said, you play yourself. And because it is an improvised film, you can't play a character who's so different from you and improvise for the whole film.
Yeah.
You know, if you are playing Jagdeep Chadda or Dr. Ahuja from Sunflower, who are different from you, puri film. Now, Jagdeep Chadda, maybe having played it for so often, I can improvise as that character.
Correct.
Which happened in The Office also.
Yeah.
But if it's a new character like that, Shuruaat se, it's very difficult to completely improvise everything, you know, around it. And he kept things similar. Jaise Mohit's character plays poker, which is something I had done a lot. So he kept it that way, you know, taki he's not making him a chemistry professor, because, you know, you will not be able to say things that are very normal for that person. Improvise karke, you know,
correct.
lines hai to alag baat hai. So he started with, you play yourselves.
Yeah.
And this actually is the hardest thing to do. How do you play yourself? Because we are aware of other people's personalities and traits, and we can look at them and say, acha, ye aisa hai, and we will pick on it. You are not very aware of your own. And also, if you play yourself, but you are not, acha, theek hai, reality show hai to alag hai, I'll just be myself and I'm not acting. But then you won't do the things, jaise koi Ajib Prani aapke ghar mein aa jaye, you're not going to react to it like the script wants you to, right? So that is a character who accepts this, who accepts another man in his house. Who is this person who does all this? So it can't be you entirely. And I argued, I said, yeah, I just want it to be someone slightly different so that I can get a little hook on it.
Correct.
So, I mean, Mohit is not, he's not different in that I didn't work on, iske mannerisms alag honge, iske baat karne ka tarika alag hoga. Nothing, you know, his walk, rhythm, nothing we affected. We said leave it that way.
Yeah.
But personality-wise, yes, there's some, you know, you work on some things, but you keep these aspects similar, so you don't make your life so difficult also to improvise.
Correct.
So yeah, it started with Mukul and Rasika, and then we said, chalo tweak karke ye Mohit aur Ritika aa gaye.
You mentioned about the poker scene, and there's a scene where Rasika is kissing Kabir.
Yes.
Okay. How
Spoiler
does...
alert, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. मतलब ये हुआ है, अगर आपने देखी है तो
नहीं ट्रेलर में भी है, ट्रेलर 2 में है.
तो how does Mukul as an actor have that switch off button of seeing his wife being kissed, and then how does the actors come on?
I think we've had that now for some time, in the sense that, let's say I'm not in the film, it's a different film.
Correct.
It's not as if we haven't had to kiss somebody else, in a role, which we have seen on screen subsequently. You've seen it on screen, you've not seen it on set, you've seen it on screen. So you accept it. I mean, we have a thing of, we'll tell the other person in advance, or you in a role, that this is there. Not that, it's just, I think you get used to it, or you accept it.
I'm sure you saw Mirzapur also.
Exactly.
Mirzapur has...
Mirzapur, Office, I have kissing scenes. In various shows, Sunflower, various things are there. So you kind of have an acceptance that, this is a life of an actor. You will kiss other people, and it doesn't mean anything, and we know it. I mean, because we've done it either way.
Yeah.
This was on set, but you know it. So it's not like I think having done it, it was perhaps the first time for someone, maybe it's different, but having done it, it doesn't become that much of an impediment.
Amazing. Since there are two improv people sitting here, I thought, we should make this,
of course,
this conversation a little more interesting by putting in one improv game. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to play this game wherein we are going to speak in an alphabetical order.
Okay.
And we'll have to convince people that why they should watch Fairy Folk.
Super.
So आप A से शुरू कीजिए.
Absolutely wonderful reviews have come for this film, and it's overwhelmed me.
बकवास पिक्चरें इतनी चलती रहती है, आप उसे देखते हो, तो कुछ मीनिंगफुल देखना भी जरूरी है.
Can you imagine a film where all the dialogues have been improvised? इतनी real लगती हैं वो लोग.
Don't just listen to what he's saying. Actually, आपको पिक्चर देखकर कुछ अलग लगेगा.
Everybody who has watched the film has said this exact same thing, that it is very different from anything you have seen, in a positive way.
Feeling from the heart.
Go watch 2:45 show today, City Mall PVR.
हाँ.
I will buy your ticket if you want. I really am so confident that you like the film.
जाओ आप लोग, लेकिन इस इंटरव्यू के बाद, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है ना, ऐसे थोड़े चले जाएंगे.
वो भी है. कल शायद शो ना रहे, तो आज चले जाइए.
लेकिन देखना इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि मिस हो जाएगा और थिएटर से नहीं निकल जाए तो फिर मजा नहीं होगा ना. You need to watch it in the theater.
My other point I want to make is that anyone who has been in a relationship, anyone who has had desire, anyone who is close to people who have had gender identity issues, this film will speak to them very strongly.
Not just for adults, I think teenagers or people who are confused in life can go ahead and watch this film.
Yes. One other point I definitely want to make is that you will come away thinking a lot about many issues, and you'll also feel a lot.
पर मज़ा आएगा, क्योंकि फिल्में जो है अलग अलग जॉनर की आप देख चुके हैं. ये एक अलग जॉनर है, आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा, लेकिन मज़ा आएगा.
मज़ा. Quickly go and book your tickets.
Rasika is there in the film.
Superb acting she has done.
तो कन्विंस हो गए हम कि आप की हम और बोले.
Urmin has also seen the film, and she also likes it a lot. She's told me.
Very good choice of words. Urmin, you have said from you. Very nice.
We have seen the film, and we are recommending that you should see it.
X-Man देखी आपने? ये वैसी नहीं है.
You will love it. Trust me.
All right, that was amazing. So A to Z improv games आप खेलिए. And moving on to S से Sunflower. I have to tell you this, Mukul. When I saw the first season of Sunflower, I had called you up to tell you that ये eccentric character, ये madness जो एक किरदार में उसकी ज़रूरत थी. And this was right after we saw you in The Office.
Yes.
और जगदीप चड्डा ये character who is better known as Michael Scott also is one of my favorite characters of all time. And you did all that you could, even though you had not watched the American Office.
We chose not to. I mean, I watched it while I was auditioning for the role.
Yeah.
And फिर हमने कहा नहीं देखेंगे नहीं. And I think most of the actors did that. कि हम देखेंगे नहीं, ताकि you don't have this stress of, कि we are copying it, or worried that नहीं, I must do something different.
But क्यों बंद हो गया यार? What is this? आप ऐसे कैसे कर सकते हो?
आप please इधर भी A to Z हम बोल देंगे. We will tell Disney Hotstar and applause to please.
This is not right, यार. You can't like just keep your audience invest करती है ना एक show में.
We get so many messages कि आप please season 3 please ले आओ. So I'd love to just forward them to the people who
I mean, see, हर किसी के लाइफ में कुछ ऐसे अद्भुत बॉसेस होते हैं, लेकिन उनको पर्दे पर मतलब टीवी पर देखना और उनकी खिंचाई होने का एक अलग ही मजा है for sure. But coming to Sunflower, How excited were you for the second season?
I was very excited. Sunflower was a very good role for me because, just you said also, it was very different from what I had played before or what I had been offered before. ये एक हिंदी मीडियम केमिस्ट्री प्रोफेसर है जिसको गुस्सा बहुत जल्दी आता है, and I'm to the point where he could kill people. I mean, like that level of very mean to his wife, and getting angry like that was not easy for me. It is like that, that suddenly he flies into a rage. Not that straightforward. So when I saw the role, I said, "Yaar, ये तो करना ही है." I mean, how can you not say? How can you say no to something like this? And it was, it's just. In fact, I remember I did an audition for Sunflower in lockdown with a shirt. You know the shirt that Dr. Ahuja wears? There's that check shirt. Yeah, check shirt. I had a check shirt like that. So मैंने audition के लिए पहना था, and I did that audition, and then I got the part. And then I went. We did a look test, and they had a totally different wardrobe. And then the directors came and said, नहीं, जो audition में पहना था ना, वो that is the look for this character, and we're going to keep it. And I consider that shirt my lucky shirt. I wear it for some important tests because I find that it's got. So I mean that character was just so wonderful. So I was very happy to go back to season 2 because I was like, this is going to, पता नहीं ये कहाँ जाएगा. I don't know if you've seen season 2, but it just goes in another mad zone with everybody else, and it's just a completely, again, that's a genre-defining show. Yeah. Defying show. Because there's no, what genre do you put it in? I mean,
thriller comedy.
हाँ, मतलब murder mystery comedy, क्या है ये? मतलब अजीब सा है. एक तो murder mystery चल रहा है, and solving the detective thing is happening. और फिर ये this पागल लोग हैं, सारे के सारे पागल हैं, everybody. So it's fun. It's a fun ride. And it's a very warm set also.
As an actor, what comes naturally to you? Comedy or serious roles?
I think comedy has happened more frequently, so I would like to throw it out there that I'd want to do other things also. But comedy has come more naturally, more often to me.
So then, for this particular role, you might have had to, restrict yourself.
Yeah, there's no comedy. But you know what the thing is? Even when you're doing comedy, you are not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Even Dr. Ahuja doesn't have the bulk of the humor stuff in it, right? But even like say a Sonu character or whatever, he's not trying to be funny, right? But the actor is aware that ये मैं करूँगा, मैं बड़ा serious हूँ, but there's a comic effect to it. Right. Even Dr. Ahuja has a few moments, not that many, where you're doing something that is going to lend to humor. Yeah. Because it's never in a very serious space. Yeah. Sunflower doesn't get into a very serious zone ever. So you're aware at some level कि ये comedy होने वाला है. Even for that matter, sorry, bringing Fairy Folk back, I think because it was improvised, it leads to a lot of humor. That may not have been initially intended in the script because there's no script as such. Correct. And I remember Karan saying after day 6 or 7, ये तो comedy बन रही है. Because it just naturally, sometimes when you play off each other, there's some comic moments that come. So I think with me, sometimes that happens naturally, but even when you're doing comedy, you're never laughing or you're never finding it funny. Correct. You are playing it straight. The situation is funny.
Correct.
So
I think some of the most amazing improv scenes also come out when you're not trying to
be funny.
A comedy.
You're not trying to make
or a joke. Laugh. Yeah, it just so happens the situation becomes.
Yeah, the situation, and the more you commit to that bizarre situation,
correct.
The more you fully commit to it, it's funny. It's like people like to see someone struggle through a difficult situation and not get what they want. And they love it,
How close is this character for you?
Which one? Sunflower?
Yeah.
No, not close at all. Not at all close. Matlab, I don't have such a huge temper problem. I don't go crazy. I don't think I've tried to kill somebody. I don't think I have. I mean, my wife can attest to the fact that I don't treat her the way that Dr.
उन्होंने तो कुछ और ही कहा था.
अच्छा, सच में. So I don't know. It's which makes it very interesting for an actor. That how do I find this? Like, what do you find in this character that you are going to, use? So I've really had a ball playing Dr. Ahuja.
Amazing. अच्छा पिछले साल एक और show. Look at the amount of amazing OTT work you're doing. Rana Naidu happened.
Yes.
Do you want to share the experience of being around a really big star cast like Venkatesh? How was
everybody
it?
Was there, huh? Venkatesh, Dagupati and I actually bonded over the fact he went to college in Chennai. Huh. And I went to school in Chennai. So we were talking about that quite a bit. All my scenes are with him. Almost all my scenes. I think 60 to 70% of my scenes are pretty much with him. And he was very sweet. He was very sweet. ऐसे set पे कभी नहीं लगा कि this is like this biggest superstar in the South is, he's extremely down to earth. I mean, there's absolutely nothing that you will feel, you know, for a second ki ye, you know, this is when he walks in Hyderabad, there's like the, you know, the crowds part and everything. You don't get that sense. He's extremely sweet and down to earth. I liked Rana Naidu in the sense that it was also a character that I didn't get to play often.
Okay.
You know, this sort of almost maniacal CBI officer who's got zero sense of humor and just, you know, single-minded focus ki main pakdunga isse. So that was a fun part to play, and it's an anti-hero. I mean, he's the good guy, but he's the anti-protagonist, right? Because he's trying to catch Rana Naidu. So yeah,
somewhere the audience is not with him.
Not with him because they're with Rana.
Yeah.
But he's the good guy.
Correct.
In terms of, you know, being honest and going for it, and yeah, and that was also, you know, great set of scenes. I mean, I saw that part and I said it's not a huge part, but it was a very interesting part. You know, the whole thing of him creating that character, and then he gets his LSD trip, and like he's like tripping on LSD.
Do you have a special memory with any scene, any sequence from Rana Naidu that you remember?
I think the LSD stuff was, you know, yeah, we shot more actually, a lot more than actually made the show finally. But the funniest thing for me was, how do I research this LSD bit?
Yeah, I was going to ask you this question.
How am I going to research this LSD bit? ये तो करके नहीं कर सकते ना, मतलब बाकी चीजें आप कह सकते हो कि I'll try it. How do you do this? Yeah, I spoke to Karan Anshuman. I said, ये क्या करेंगे इसका? He said, watch Love and Longing in Las Vegas. Watch that. I watched a documentary on Netflix which was about people talking about their trips. Yeah, it was quite fascinating to go through this whole thing because, you know, and yeah, it was quite because you can't go over also. You have to have that right balance, you know. You can't be like मतलब ज़्यादा ही कुछ कर रहे हो, and you have to know what it is to play it right. So it was a good one.
एक और improv game खेलें,
चलिए,
है ना? क्योंकि क्या है कि इंटरव्यू तो चलता रहेगा, एक और इम्प्रोव गेम है एंड
इसमें मजा आता है.
हाँ, इम्प्रोव गेम कुछ इस तरह है कि दैट अब से मैं आपको जो भी पूछूंगी आपको उसका जवाब सवाल में ही देना है.
ठीक है.
तो अब आगे क्या आ रहा है आपके लिए?
आप किस टाइप का काम देखना चाहेंगे?
आप किस चीज में माहिर हैं?
अब ये messed up. Okay, first round. First point to Urmin. Okay, God, I knocked out. कर गए.
Next project आपका किस पर आ रहा है अब?
एक्शन कॉमेडी का नाम सुना है आपने?
क्या?
आपने कभी एक्शन कॉमेडी जॉनर का नाम सुना होगा?
आप वो सब भी करते हैं?
वो सब होता भी है क्या?
अब कौन से पिक्चर की बात कर रहे हैं?
धूमधाम का नाम सुना है आपने?
ये कैसी पिक्चर?
यामी गौतम जी का नाम सुना है आपने? प्रतीक गांधी जी का नाम सुना है आपने?
क्लोज आंसर. हाँ, सुना है. वेरी नाइस. चलो 1-1 हो गया. एक लास्ट ट्राई करते हैं.
ठीक है.
कैसे आए आज आप इस इंटरव्यू पे?
Messed up. Too long. Wrong.
Not bad.
Messed up.
So tell me about this new project that is coming along with Yami Gautam and Pratik Gandhi.
There is a project. Now I can answer in sentences.
Yeah.
It's a project Dhoomdham. It's an action comedy.
Yeah.
Which is itself a bizarre thing. कि मतलब action और comedy को कैसे जोड़ लो. I mean, I told Rishabh, who's the director. Again, same thing, you know. It's for the actor. It's very easy because we are playing it straight. We are not trying to be comic or whatever doing it. But to get that right balance, because it's completely a bizarre comedy. It's a story shot over one day, one night or whatever. But a lot of action and bizarre comedy.
ये bizarre आपका middle name हो सकता है.
Whole पता नहीं क्यों ऐसे रोल मिल रहे हैं मुझे. लेकिन कोई बात नहीं. मैं शिकायत नहीं कर रहा हूँ. I'm very happy to do all this. Again, I cannot say too much, but I'm very happy because I'm playing a role which again I don't get that often. You know, in terms of how people will see me as, and I can't say too much because this would be a big spoiler. So yeah, it's an interesting part. I'm very excited about it, and yeah, it's Pratik Gandhi and Yami Gautam starer, and I think it'll be a really fun show. And Rishabh has got his mad sense of humor in terms of whatever he does. So हाँ, action भी किया उसमें. और उसमें अच्छा, sorry, you were coming back. I'll mention to you. You talking about Rana Naidu just reminded me, and this came from Dhoomdham. One interesting episode on set. तो राणा नायडू तो सबने देख लिया है, so I can talk about it. There's no spoiler. उसमें I get shot at some point, right? नहीं ये तो अभी क्या है, अभी तो season 2 आने वाला है. So जिस दिन मैं जा रहा हूँ set पे for that shooting, पेपर में आता है that there was that unfortunate episode where Alec Baldwin shot somebody on the set of Rust in Hollywood.
Right.
You know, the DOP died and मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ मैंने and उस टाइम में पता नहीं था कि what had happened, was the gun loaded, was it shrapnel, people had all kinds of theories, it was very early. और मैं जा रहा हूँ और point blank range पे वेंकटेश रघुपति has to shoot me. मेरी तो मतलब मेरी पसीने निकल रहा है कि how are we going to do this? I can't, how do I focus on it? Luckily we reached set और Suparn, the director, was even more stressed than I was.
अच्छा.
Far more stressed than I was because obviously everybody was reading this and saying कि Hollywood में with safety standards which are so much higher on a big budget set.
They have like a meeting, a safety meeting.
हुआ है and this has happened here. So he of course then he completely said जितना भी हमें effects करने हैं we will do it in post and let's keep it as safe and simple as possible because I mean it was just like I can tell you I was going to set. Normally I'm reading lines and learning lines on my way to set. मैं तो ये news ही पढ़ रहा हूँ और सोच रहा हूँ कि क्या होगा.
I want to go and watch that scene again now.
Yeah, it was my first day of shoot.
To see your face.
It was my first day of shoot actually.
Oh.
It was my first day of shoot and this is going to happen on the first day.
कमाल.
और मैं जा रहा हूँ set और ये सब खबर पढ़ रहे हैं हम. And then in Dhoom Dham, because this is how I got reminded of it, Dhoom Dham maybe we had a scene with a gun. And I had to shoot, I can say this much I think without saying too much. I have to do a shot at one point and there they had a gun. I mean, it wasn't key, it was, of course it's blanks, but still. And even then I was nervous. This was shot afterwards. I was still nervous. Yaar, and then they say for all safety standard, these guys come, the gun master comes, he says, देखिए, I'll show you how I'm loading it. I'm putting blanks. अबे मुझे क्या पता blank क्या होता है, bullet क्या होता है? I've never seen a gun. I've never loaded a gun. You can tell me that I'm putting blanks and you can put something. मुझे क्या पता है?
हमको सिर्फ इतना पता है कि गन दिखाओ तो उससे पानी निकलता है.
मैं तो हाँ वही तो हाँ सच में मैं तो कह रहा हूँ यार do we need this? Do we have to do this? And I remember the DOP also saying, sir एक काम करो because obviously you're not shooting at somebody at that point in time, you're shooting away, but how do you trust your own aim? Correct. That I'm shooting somewhere else? Of course it's a blank, it's still a blank, but like you're still trying to shoot away. And then he was like, look Kalina, come closer to camera. Like, yaar tu pagal hai, tu khada hai piche camera ke piche. I mean, do you really want to take this chance? He said, and I was just nervous as hell because I mean this is like it's
so interesting, the stories of an actor. यार मतलब scene से पहले क्या क्या होता रहता है.
हाँ सच में all this other stuff keeps happening and then you have to sort of zone out of that and come back into like okay I'm like
मुकुल वैसे आपने अपने करियर की शुरुआत की in 2012 with एक मैं और एक तू. When it comes to films.
It might not be the first film, but maybe the first film that got noticed or whatever.
And now we're in 2024 where there are like so many beautiful offers on OTT that are coming to you. How has OTT impacted you?
A very big way. I mean, I think for a lot of actors like me, life has changed quite a bit because, before OTT, when you just had films of course there's television, but when you had films, because the film is a story about one character, two characters, and then you're playing support to them, right? So you're looking at your trajectory as कि मैं उसका हीरो का दोस्त बनूंगा, फिर 15 साल बाद उसका बाप का रोल करूंगा. That kind of thing. That's right. When you look at actors and roles that other people have played and you look at what is the potential you can do, that's what it would be. And then suddenly this world changes. Like The Office, changed a lot for me. I mean, it was the first role in a big show where I even auditioned for the lead role. Before that, you don't get a chance to even audition or be tested for that lead role. So everything has changed for people. And even if you're not doing a lead role in many shows, like Sunfly, I'm not playing the lead. But so many characters, because the story length is such that everybody has their own interesting narrative arcs. There's room for you to to show, what you can do. And those are interesting roles and things are well defined. So it's been lovely. It's been wonderful.
Do you feel that if Office as a season would have kept going ahead, it would have been a turning point in your career in terms of,
I think it already is a turning point in a significant way. I mean, for people to see me in that. I would have loved for it to continue also because, and it might, still, then they're not said no. Applause still says they want to do it. And some shows have been revived after a few years, so you never know. Yeah, I think the pandemic hit, it kind of got shelved for a bit, and then, we don't know what's happened. But it would have been, it's still fun to do. I would love to do it just for that. It's just such a fun, Jagdeep Chadda is such a fun character to play. I mean, it's just, every time I see a new script of that character, I'm like, बहुत मजा आएगा और बहुत मुश्किल भी होगा.
Do you know how much you had got into the character when I interviewed you for The Office? You were also answering questions like Jagdeep
Chadda. Because once you do it,
ऐसा है.
Yeah, once you do it, you get into it. Because we also started in that show, we stuck to the script very tightly and everything, etc. But I think by the time we got to season 2 or even the end of season 1, all the actors were improvising a lot more because वो आ गया था, you know, you're playing those characters, everybody's playing those, you know, crazy characters so much कि अभी वो आ गया, अभी you can play with the lines a little bit, change them a bit, you know, add your own jokes and do stuff because you know how to joke like those characters now.
Correct.
You know कि ये मतलब ऊटपटांग
की चीज,
हाँ वो ऊटपटांग की चीज जो कह रहा है वो you know the mistakes he makes, you know, like he will see, I think once he said see you later crocodile, you know, like that kind of thing is what Jagdeep would say. Those kind of things you start saying, you know, automatically they start coming, and that's lovely. That's just it feels so good. Hi, this is Mukul Chadda and you're watching me on Bollywood Hungama.